It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Woo-hoo! The KQ Morning Show for Monday, December 18th. Good morning. How's everybody after the big weekend? Are we all okay? Everyone going to make it?
Just crawling into a Monday myself.
Oh, at best. Crawling at best. Great weekend on this end. First of all, does anyone have any injuries to report?
No.
I mean, that hurts. I don't know if it's anything serious.
Well, it's the holidays. We're all just drunk all the time. It's cold out. Injury season. That's what I look at the holidays as. I mean, you know, and basically this is the whole thing to me. We have a great weekend. Hopefully everybody had a good time. I had a good night Friday, had a good night Saturday, had a very, very easygoing day Sunday. But today's December 18th. And, you know, as much as the lead up to Christmas can be really stressful, peak stress for holidays is today, December 18th. Yeah. This is the day. 1 week out is when we peak with stress. And that's when you get distracted. That's when the injuries, the tumbles, the slips, the falls. I just want to put it out there. Let's all be extra careful today.
Tiptoeing through a Monday. Mine is all self-inflicted. It's family stuff. I'm the guy that says, yeah, I'll do it. Sure. Sounds good. Be there. Absolutely. 100%. Like 8 different families. I don't even know how I acquired so many families over the years. But, yeah, you know, now I've got to start making, I realized yesterday, I got to start making some phone calls and telling some people, I'm doing this, I'm not doing that. And that's today, I guess, because I thought, well, it's Sunday. I don't want to do it on Sunday. But, yeah, so I've got it's stressful. I don't like it.
Yeah, the compounding interest of holiday cheer back in November. Oh, it comes due right around now. You're just like, oh, that'll be great. Let's do that for sure. Can't wait. Yeah. Gonna be amazing. Yeah. My look ahead at what it's going to be like. Get everybody under the same roof. Get the decorations up. Get the kids home from college, and then those things happen. And then I was just like, what did I think was going to be different this year? Why did I think this was going to be, you know, like a, you know, schnapps and toboggan party every day of the week? What the hell was I thinking? So today's peak day, and you know, and the most common way people deal with stress has always been, of course, you know, having a cocktail or 6. But this year, every survey taken way up, especially in Minnesota now that's legal, marijuana usage, admitted THC consumption through the roof, as they say, whatever it takes, I guess.
Well, you know, I mean, having partaken in both marijuana and booze, I can tell you that I get into trouble with booze. Marijuana people are just disappointed in me, which I think I favor. They're like, you know, but I don't create as much Christmas chaos as I do on the booze.
They're disappointed in you, and you are surprisingly okay with it. That's the miracle of THC. That's really the miracle. Candace, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stoned are you right now?
Oh boy, there's probably a little in my system. From, just kidding. No, I did have a seltzer this weekend, but that was a while ago. Yeah.
That was it. Tony, bong in your studio right now. I'm just curious what that means. Should we be concerned?
No, but I shot up this morning.
Okay.
I'm mainlined.
Yeah, okay.
And everything's kind of dreamy. So I'm really digging this conversation.
Man, fair enough. You know, you're sitting there, you're sitting there going, God, everyone sounds so perfect today. Man, the timbre of the voices I choose to spend my mornings with. It's heaven on earth. You know, but the other thing too, one thing that really stresses me out, because now that we're a week out, this is the week I will be shopping. This is when I will I will force myself out into the stores, the markets, the bazaars, if you will, looking for those, nothing huge, but I'm looking for something. I'm a shopper who knows it when I see it. I rarely go in with an idea in mind, and I just rely on the universe to reward me with, oh my God, I just stumbled across this, and that works, or it doesn't. There's really no middle ground. It's either, you know, I'm the king of Christmas, or I'm just Scrooge on Christmas Day, watching people open crap presents from me. So that's what I'm about to get into. And I can tell you right now, I'm already getting a little wound up about it. Not because I'm worried I won't get the gift, because I know I'm going to be over inundated, smashed over the earlobes with just bad music. Just bad holiday music. I prefer I prefer the Muzak of Christmas music to the actual Christmas recordings at this point because I've heard them all so many times.
Yeah.
That said, there's one song. Zep shared a song with us this morning that I have a feeling we're not going to hear at any store. You're not going to hear it in an Uber or in a taxi. You're not going to hear it, at the gate waiting for your holiday flight. But it's a real song. It's my favorite Christmas song ever, and I've only been aware of it for about 30 minutes. And it's a real song. It came out in 1975. A woman named Linda Bennett, and it's called "An Old-Fashioned Christmas." Daddy's home. So Dad's going to be here. He takes that same bus every night. It's going to be amazing. And then the song literally is interrupted with a bulletin. The number 5 out of New Haven has skidded off the road and hit a tree.
Oh, my goodness.
And the music, the strings underneath go straight to, it's incredible. The drama is incredible. And you just think to yourself, we're sitting here. I mean, Tony's joking about mainlining. We're talking about hitting the bong. Someone really was doing that in the studio when the song was recorded. Not only that, it was mixed by someone who was high as a kite. It was mastered by someone high as a kite. It was okayed and greenlit to be released by a single by someone who was high as a kite.
That was the 70s.
And the 70s were lit, like they say.
Well, we're just getting started. We got a couple more clips of that. We want to kind of take, because is Dad going to be okay? Is it going to be I already forget an old-fashioned greatest. I already forget the chorus, but we're to be continued.
Yeah,
we're going to get into. How about some other horrible Christmas songs? They're just terrible songs. It's Monday. That's the kind of mood we're in around here.
I think Bad Music Monday should be a new tradition.
Okay. All right. Well,
at least for today.
The challenge, the gauntlet has been thrown down. That's quite a challenge. I think we're up to it. We'll keep things cruising along here. Our good buddy Mike Evans with a Hollywood Report at 6:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, December the 18th, and more specifically, it is time to go west for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Good morning, Michael.
Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, it's Christmas week.
Yes,
week,
sir.
Steve. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you know what? Between all the shopping everybody's going to be doing, it would be a great time, especially tomorrow on special Marcus Theater Tuesday. Maybe see a movie, kind of relax, and then go back out and shop some more.
Oh, hell yeah, Mike. That's a plan.
That's what I'm thinking. All right, fine. Taylor Swift was at her boyfriend Travis Kelce's football game on yesterday.
Yep.
Okay, we know they're dating, so enough already. What do you think?
What do you mean? What do I think? Are you saying the fact that they still show her in the stadium and stuff? Like it's still a thing?
Yeah.
She's the biggest celebrity on earth. I think it makes perfect sense. She's bigger. Okay. She's bigger than anybody that's ever played football has ever been. I mean, just think of it in those terms. She's more famous and popular than Tom Brady ever was, than Bart Starr ever was, than Walter Payton ever was. She's the biggest star in the world, and it makes sense that they're going to grab as much of that as they can because, they're going to break up by Easter, and then next year she'll be on to something else.
Well, there you go. Hit it while it's hot.
Yeah.
TV news. So here are the top 5 ratings from a week ago. Number 5, Monday Night Football.
Sure.
Number 4, Football Night in America.
Stands to reason.
Number 3, Sunday Night NFL pregame kickoff show.
Why not?
Number 2, Sunday Night Football.
Uh-huh.
And number 1, NFL National Game of the Week on Sunday. It's gotten bigger every year and continues to just dominate all television when it's on.
I'll tell you, man, 10 years ago, I would have bet exactly the opposite. I would have said football was on its way to, it was going to go the way of boxing and horse racing eventually. And it still might, but clearly no time soon. Those numbers are astounding, but I think it's because I think more than anything, it's because so much of what we watch is on demand, and live sports is all that's left to have a similar, a real-time national conversation.
I agree. I think it's a big part of it.
Yep.
Boy, sad to hear about the passing of Colin Burgess. Did you know him?
No, I'm spacing on who you're even talking about. I'm sorry.
The AC/DC first drummer passed away over the weekend.
Please. He was in the band before anybody ever saw them. He was never even on the records.
And this is a good segue. Cher is fabulous in a lot of ways, but she is furious that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has ignored her, refusing to induct her. I got to be honest, I can't blame her. I mean, there's got to be some politics involved or something. But here's a little personal nugget about Cher. Mm-hmm. I've known Cher a long, long time, back when she was Cleo and Caesar and Cleo, before they changed their names to the real names and went by Sonny and Cher.
Okay.
Before they recorded I Got You, Babe, hung out at their tiny little house. And back when they were only making $100 for one 40-minute show at high schools, and sometimes would drive them to them, she hated singing. She cried every time she had to sing. She threw fits. She didn't want to do it. She hated it, wanted to quit 1,000 times. She owes everything to Sonny, who forced her to stick with it, because without Sonny, nobody would even know who Cher was today.
Wow, fair enough, Mike. Strong take from Evans.
Since we last spoke, 7'2", 76-year-old Kareem Abdul-Jabbar fell at a concert, broke his hip, is hospitalized. Man, I really like Kareem. I'm sure you've had dealings with Kareem doing all the sports that you've done.
I have spoken to the man twice. I'm a huge fan of his game. I'm a far bigger fan of the man that he is. He's a wonderful human being. Oh,
just a great guy. 76, broken hip. Boy, I hope he
the average, well too. The average 76-year-old does not do well with a broken hip. I'm sure, as we all know. But however, he's in spectacular shape. Has always maintained his yoga practice and other things like that. I'm certainly hoping that all comes back to help him now.
Absolutely. And finally, last week, a huge, massive lawsuit filed against Disney. 9 women so far have opened up a class action suit that could grow to 9,000 women against Disney, charging them with sex discrimination. The scoop is many women who had the exact same jobs as men, but were paid much, much less, and it's been going on for years. And is it true Disney knew about it the whole time?
The answer is yeah, of course.
I'm thinking Walt Disney spinning in his grave.
Because they got caught?
I think Walt Disney was a good guy. I say shame, shame, shame on corporate Disney, who's looking out for the buck rather than anything else.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and split hairs with you over whether or not Walt Disney was a good guy or not, because I really don't know. But I'm going to say that's corporate malfeasance is about as I'm always assuming everybody knows exactly what everybody's doing, including things like this. Maybe he wouldn't have gone that way, but then again, when he was alive, he would have looked at any woman working for him and said, "Doll, give me some more coffee." Right.
That was a long time ago. Getting ready for Christmas?
About to get ready. Yes, it's about to happen.
Good. Well, everybody be safe. Talk to you tomorrow morning. See ya.
Thanks, Mike Evans. Appreciate it, brother.
I am using that line 20 times this week. I'm about ready to get ready. So just
it's a series of steps. Everyone just a little more unpleasant than the one before. It's like getting my Christmas week together. It's like climbing to the top of the largest staircase ever, only to find ennui at the top awaiting me. A sense of, that's it? Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, I don't have... The one thing I don't have this Christmas season is I'm not waiting for someone to get home on the number 5 bus. I've got that going for me. We already mentioned on the show a very real Christmas song from 1975 by a woman named Linda Bennett. The song sets up by saying, Dad's coming home for Christmas. He's always here. He takes that bus home every night, and now we can't wait. And in the middle of a song, there's a break where it says, we interrupt this broadcast for a news flash. The number 5 bus out of New Haven has crashed into a tree, sliding on the ice. He got the next bus. He was going to be on the... What? I don't know. This whole thing, something's fishy going on here.
He was at his mistress's place.
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. I missed my bus because I was getting my Christmas present early.
All those other people are dead, but we're happy.
Man.
A lot of tragedy out there tonight, but Dad's home. Oh, that's a beauty.
They should call that that's the Christmas roller coaster, is what that is. In 1 minute,
like
it's
was on one, right?
Who's going to buy me toys and play with me? Who's going to walk me down the aisle at my wedding? Oh, he's back. What do you mean I got a G.I. Joe with lifelike hair? I already have one.
You idiot.
I wanted the Evel Knievel thing where you wind it up and he shoots off by himself.
I wish you were dead.
My father. I hate my parents. Yeah, I can just see it.
Good as a mom. She's good for nothing. Dad's gone. That's the problem. Well, Kevin, thanks. Kevin and I started a little email thing back and forth. He sent that in the KQ Morning Show. Kevin Raleigh, somewhere in Minnesota, gets a big attaboy for that. And another one he did send me, and maybe we'll get into just worst songs. Kenny Starr has one called The Blind Man in the Bleachers. That's an instant classic. And who the hell knew that Elvis had a song about yoga? That had to be from the 60s, right?
It's this is the first I've heard of it, and I'm very excited. Well, that's a lot to look forward to, but quickly we do have to look back. It's time for a quick history lesson.
I love history.
I'm going to tell you something that I learned.
Do it. Go ahead.
Tell me, Steve.
How about a little sports history from just 1 year ago today? The World Cup final, Argentina over France, 3-3 at the end of regulation, at the end of extra time, 4-2 in a penalty shootout. Argentina wins the World Cup. Again, the final score was 3-3, an instant classic. And a year later, pretty much inarguably considered the greatest World Cup final ever. Kylian Mbappe for France had a hat trick. Messi had 2 for Argentina and sealed his legacy with victory at long last. On this day in 2015.
Soccer!
Yes, on this day in 2015, it's only the most important and most loved world sport by a mile.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
We are 1 week away from Christmas. This is peak holiday stress day. No, literally, December 18th is the year, every year, when our holiday stress hits its apex. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's also Keith Richards' birthday. The man turns 80 and we all lose our minds. He was named New Musical Express, the NME, one of the greatest music publications ever in England. They put him as #1 on their Rockstar Death Watch list in 1972. They put him there. And they kept him there for 15 years, and then they put him on the cover and said, all right, never mind, we're taking him off. He's clearly going to live forever.
Yeah, it was like 20 years ago. It was like a Good Morning America, one of those morning shows. Keith Richards was on. They asked him, what keeps you ticking? Because they mentioned the same thing that you mentioned, which comes up about every now 5 years in his life. Mm-hmm. And he said, spite. I do it out of spite.
Sure.
Just stays alive out of spite.
Sure. You tell a guy he's most likely to be the next dead rock star, and he's got $1 billion in the bank. Chances are he's gonna figure out a way to keep it going. Yeah. He's gonna have the right support systems. You gotta love Keith, who was like literally in his early 30s when the rumors of he goes to Switzerland for blood transfusions, when that all started. He's just been laughing at all of us for decades. Yeah, guys, whatever. It's just called luck and good genes, or whatever he says it is. But anyway, happy birthday, Keith. I hope you enjoy the Rolling Stones tour in 2024, which will be just yet another giant successful stadium tour in which everybody goes, are they ever going to do this again? And the answer is yes, they are. This is not their final tour. I stopped thinking it is. Yeah. They're never going away. Nor is the holiday season the tradition of giving. It's better to give than to receive, which is why we give away so much cool crap on the show, including concert tickets. Next summer, yes, the Rolling Stones are on tour. You know who else is? Def Leppard and Journey, co-headlining stadiums. Steve Miller Band is one of the openers on that tour. And when those 3 artists come to Minneapolis, August 19th, they will be performing at Target Field. And right now, we're going to give a couple of listeners a chance to have tickets in their pocket already. We're going to give away some tickets to Def Leppard and Journey with Steve Miller Band. We're going to have to play a game first, of course. And that game today, Tony, is?
Well, it's the perfect post-weekend game.
I'm not that intoxicated.
Mommy, I have to go potty. Daddy.
Drinks are on me.
The KQ Morning Show presents Little Kid
Yay!
or Drunk Adult.
I'm so wasted.
What happens, Brian, my boy?
Well, it's. These could go either way. We have some people that are going to lay down a scenario for you, and you're going to try and decide, were they a little innocent kid learning life through trial and error, or just another dumbass drunk adult? Who do we have? Candace.
All right. We're going to start off with Ben from Shoreview.
Ben, good morning.
Nope, that's...
Hey, good morning, guys.
Jinx.
How you feeling over there, brother? You ready to play a little kid or drunk adult?
On Keith Richards' birthday, I sure am.
Attaboy. All right. Zepp is your team leader today.
All right, Ben, here we go. This is Rob. Listen carefully. Short, quick scenario.
I pulled my own tooth.
Rob pulled his own tooth. But was he a little kid?
I love the way you said it.
I just pulled my own tooth. Or was he a drunk adult, Ben?
I'd say drunk adult.
I was a little kid. Technically, it was my friend. I had a loose tooth. So, I tied a string to my tooth, and my friend took off on his bike, and my tooth came out.
Bam.
My friend looked back to see if it worked, and didn't notice that he was headed to a telephone pole on his bike. He hit his head, and ironically, knocked out his own tooth.
Oh, there's the payoff.
Kids. Pretty fantastic right there. Wow.
Not bad right there. All right, Ben. Like I said, this is a flip of the coin kind of stuff here. Up next for you, we're going to turn it over to Susan.
I ate a huge bowl of red Jell-O with my hands. Then I turned around and projectile vomited it right back into my mother's face.
You could do these twice in your life as a little kid or a drunk adult, but she did it once. That was Susan, Ben. Little kid, drunk adult.
Little kid.
I was a drunk adult. Yeah, I was drinking at home with my uncle when he told me he'd give me $10 if I could eat this huge bowl of Jell-O in under a minute. My mom told me not to do it, but I did it anyway. I then turned to my mom and projectile vomited it all right back in her face. I felt so bad the next day, I gave the $10 to my mom.
Well,
that one went
at the very
south.
Least.
That went south when she said, I was drinking with my uncle. Stop right there. All right, Ben.
Mom was questioning her parenting skills that entire time. I've made some serious mistakes along the way.
Yeah, amen. All right, Ben. Well, don't worry. We've had not only a person win this with one right, we've had a tiebreaker with 0 for 0. So, all right, on both contestants. So, Ben, try and get one here. We're going to turn it over to Jilly, little kid or drunk adult.
I accidentally farted in the middle of a movie and started to cry.
Oh, farted in the middle of a movie and brought her to tears. But as a little kid or a drunk adult, Ben?
Drunk adult.
I was hammered on this first date with this girl I had a huge crush on. And during the quiet part of the new Top Gun movie, I leaned down to grab my popcorn, and that's when I accidentally farted. And everyone around immediately looked over at me. And my date had this disgusted look on his face, and he just says, hot.
Come on, man.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, he wasn't the right one for you.
No, not cool.
Right. Ben gets one.
Should have gone, way to go, Maverick.
Yeah.
Yeah, afterburners right there, right?
Goose was dead. Yeah. Oh, man. So is that 1 for 3?
Yeah, Ben got one out of that,
right.
which is pretty good in this game.
It really is. To Zepp's point, Ben, you are still very much in the running. All right, Candace, caller number 2.
All right, Carmen from Maple Grove.
Good morning, Carmen.
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome, all of you.
Carmen, you have a Minnesotan with you this morning. A little there for moral support. All right, Carmen, you understand how this works. Little kid, drunk adult, right? You've been both, I assume. All right, here we go. Where Annabelle's got a scenario for you. Was she a little kid or a drunk adult?
I had a 3-minute conversation with a mannequin thinking it was a real person.
Oh, yeah. The old conversation with the mannequin, thought it was real. Drunk or kid?
I'm sorry. I've got a bad connection. I can't hear hardly anything.
Hey, let's try it again. I'm going to crank it up, Carmen. Lean in.
Okay. I had a 3-minute conversation with a mannequin thinking it was a real person.
All right. She had a 3-minute conversation with a mannequin thinking it was a real person, but was she drunk or a little kid?
Golly. I'll say drunk adult.
I was a very drunk adult during my spring break in Key West, and it was also my 21st birthday. And then when we got back to our hotel, I really wanted to have some champagne brought to our room just to celebrate. So I put in my order and I asked how many bottles we could get and the price and all that. I then had a conversation about what brand to get. It was then that my friend came up to me and she was like, "Who are you talking to?" And that was when I realized that I gave my champagne order to a mannequin in a tacky Hawaiian shirt.
Wow.
All right. Well, Carmen, you've already tied the game. Let's drive on here and see if you can secure this win. Next up, Daniel.
I got mauled by a police dog.
He got mauled by a police dog.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I'll say drunk adult.
I was a little kid. My dad was on the police force in a small town in 1998 when they got their first police dog. People they got the dog from did the demonstration with the guy in the padded suit. My dad took me to watch, and my dad asked if I wanted to try, and I tried to say no because I was only 10, but next thing I know, I was in the suit. I was terrified as that dog latched on. All the other officers were laughing at how terrified I was. Ultimately, I got the last laugh, though, because I pissed all through their padded suit from sheer terror.
Attaboy. All right. Well, Carmen, this is for all the marbles then. You're 1 for 1. Just like Ben. This will be for the win or the tiebreaker. We're going to turn it over now to Dale. This is Dale.
I dropped a bowling ball on my father's balls.
Dale dropped a bowling ball on his father's balls. We're going to wait till you get the plane landed first. Good?
What's happening over there? Are we okay?
I'll say little kid.
All right, Dale, little kid.
Yeah, as a little kid.
Wow.
We were getting ready to bowl one night, and he was sitting on the end of the lane getting ready to tie his shoes, and he'd pulled his legs in so he could tie them. And I was 6. I picked up a bowling ball that was way too heavy for me, and I carried it over to him. When I got over to him and he did notice and he leaned back to look over at me, that's when I lost my grip on the ball, and at that point it was too late. And it landed just like a wrecking ball right on his nuts. Needless to say, we never got to actually bowl that night.
Didn't even get to bowl. Dad couldn't make it.
Thank you, Sam Elliott.
Right, no kidding. Who was that, Robert Schmale? Who was that comedian? I don't know. But anyway, Carmen's a winner.
Congratulations, Carmen. You've got Def Leppard, Journey, and Steve Miller Band tickets Monday, August 19th at Target Field. Ben, you, my friend, are not leaving empty-handed. You've got tickets to see Leather and Lace, the Fleetwood Mac tribute, Saturday, December 30th at the Medina Entertainment Center. Thanks, guys, for playing. Congrats to you both.
Thank you.
Wow.
No.
Man, nothing more heartwarming than a bunch of cops standing around watching a 10-year-old quake in fear and cry and beg to not have to be mauled by a dog.
Right? Yeah, that's fantastic. That's some old school loving right there. A child rearing right there. Some scars, I'm sure.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It's not a great morning for a bunch of folks on Upper Red Lake up in northern Minnesota. 40 to 50 people stuck as some ice separated from the shore last night.
Yeah.
I guess they were out doing some fishing, and things went askew. No updates now. 40 to 50 people apparently still stranded as of 11 minutes ago. Crews are actively working to get everyone back safely to shore. We've not gotten an update that anybody's, in serious trouble other than being stranded. The crews have been on the scene for hours and hours. Hopefully everybody gets back safely. Man, that just sounds like that's just hell on earth to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, my chuckle may have been premature, and I chuckle because, we hope everybody obviously gets back to shore okay, but every freaking year, not just, we already did one story here locally up in Now Then that, somebody had to do a rescue on a couple of guys and a dog on very thin ice, but up in northern Minnesota, much colder, still very thin ice this time of the year. It's been unseasonably warm throughout the Midwest, and this happens every year. Last year also, about 30 to 40 people floated out, and they brought them all back in, and so they at least have experience, the old search and rescue here in Minnesota, with retrieving mobs of people that decided that, it's been a warm year. It's only middle, 2/3 into December. Let's wander out on the ice en masse. No, thank you.
I'm just thinking about the highlight reel of the rescue that the first responders will probably take. You're going to need the right music to set to something like that. And I've got a suggestion. Now we already played the worst Christmas song of all time today. Yeah. And you mentioned something about some of the worst songs by artists that we otherwise love. But everybody swings and misses on occasion. But right now, but this is something pretty special. There is apparently now the worst song in history, and it's written that way by design. Some scientists were paying attention to trends and listening to things about what people hate about music. Long story short, they came up with what they call the worst song in history. They are thinking that they have put together a song that fewer than 200 people on Earth could possibly enjoy. I mean, again, I'm not going to go into the all of the information on how they determine this, but we do have a quick clip. They call this the most unwanted song ever. Now, these are the same guys who recently did the opposite. They've looked at what it is that makes songs catchy, what makes people want to hear a song repeatedly, and then they tried to put together, well, this would be the most wanted song of all time. The jury's still out on that one, of course, but they have now come up with the most unwanted song ever. We'll just give you a quick glimpse. It's about 20 minutes long. So they doubled Revolution number 9. Speaking of a great artist who's put out some crap along the way. I'm sorry. I don't care how much you love John's most esoteric efforts. No, that's garbage. They actually, there are catchy parts of the song. They, at Penn State, these guys they showed surveys. They did MRIs on people's brains. And when catchy songs are played, there's an auditory part of the brain that they say makes an itch. It's like there is a part of your brain that fires up, and the only way to get it to unfire is to hear the song over and over. There is a brain response to catchy pieces of music. And so they actually have things in that bunch of crap we just heard because they thought, well, we could make dissonant noise that obviously nobody could stand. They were trying to make a song that is actually catchy, but that you hate at the same time. Kind of a good job, which is a lot of bagpipe music. And I'm a guy, I will tear up at a certain, there are times in my life when bagpipes will just bring me to tears. And then there are all the other times when I just want to, like literally just hang whoever's playing those bagpipes. Like, please stop. Please stop.
Turn it off. Bagpipes are good for a couple of minutes. A very sobering experience, right? Sure. Everything else after the first 2 minutes is, just noise. They've got it all in there. They got your accordion, opera in there, rapping, bullhorn. Oh, it's all in there if you want to look up the worst song in history, according to science. Enjoy all 22 minutes of that. You want to slip that one into the MP3 playlist for the Christmas music while everybody's hanging around, having a good time, and then just watch the party, devolve into anarchy and chaos.
They make a great wedding song as they come down the aisle.
Oh, man.
Could you imagine?
Saturday mornings, we had a screened-in front porch. I'd walk out there, sit down, have my coffee on the porch. And there was a morning when I heard the unmistakable sound of a lone piper. Like in the distance, there was a bagpiper. And I was like, it's not a stereo. That's a guy starting and stopping again. You could tell it was someone playing. And then I took the dog for a walk. And it was like an autumn morning, and it was kind of foggy. And it just was like beyond picturesque. The fall colors were out, and there was fog and mist. And I walked into the park, and sure enough, like it just got a little louder and a little louder. And through the mist there was a little pond. I saw there was a guy in a kilt, the whole thing. He was just walking in a big circle playing his pipes. And I thought, man, that's incredible. I mean, it was almost like a hallucination. But then I realized it wasn't because, of course, as I got closer, the charm started to dissipate. And as it got louder and louder and louder, and then I finally was like, oh, that's really cool as long as you're, outside the park. But anyone inside the park within 150 yards of this guy just wants to throw rocks at him because, my God. I'm like, I didn't know you could play the bagpipes flat. I thought they just sounded like that. This was like, not only was he a bagpiper by himself on a misty morning, he was just learning how to play the damn things. Apparently. It was awful. And I was like, man, I really wanted to love this, and I just can't. It was just killing me.
Yeah. You, Steve had mentioned, I was just thinking bagpipes too. seems like it needs a little distance. I was listening to a guy once in a bar play them, and it was just shrill like that, right? But you get them out in a parade or, out there with some space around you, and it seems that, I don't know, it just needs that open air, I guess, to really work. But tell me how a song like this, you've been in the recording industry, obviously, not just with the bands you've played in, but as a session musician. How does this thing go from being written to being recorded by a major superstar at the time in 1966, very much in his game, before his big comeback in 68, but Elvis? Someone wrote this. It was recorded. Session musicians like yourself participated.
Terrible song. But if Elvis had followed his own advice and stuck with a yoga practice, he might still be with us today. Well, it has to be pointed out.
Yes.
Well, I can tell you this. To answer your question, the session musicians, I guarantee you, they were just given sheet music. They had no idea what the lyrics were going to be. They walked in. It was just Thursday. They knocked out their part. That guy in the xylophone was he was just getting some work done, and they were like, "Yeah, I probably did." They probably thought it was a jingle or something, And then of course somebody walked in with Elvis. I think the answer to why Elvis would do that is pills. I think just pills.
Well,
just
66, he was pilling, wasn't he? Yeah, big time.
High, just high and low concurrently at all times, and sure, I'd like to do a session. Colonel Tom, get back in the studio. Where's Red and Jimmy? I need all my pills and my prescriptions and my guns and my pharmaceuticals. And then next thing you know, he's singing about being tied up in a yoga knot, which sounds like a Russian word for something. A yoga knot.
Yoga knot.
Hey, I mentioned Revolution Number 9 by the Beatles a minute ago from the White Album, but that was hardly the only. Now, the White Album, oddly enough, the biggest selling Beatles album at the time it came out, it outdid Sgt. Pepper. I mean, the world couldn't get enough of the Beatles. And literally, there's a song on there. Paul McCartney wrote a song that sounded like an old 30s or 40s British show tune called Honey Pie. And then John Lennon came back with Wild Honey Pie. And as a Beatles-obsessed kid, even I, sadly, was listening to the White Album and going, this kind of sucks. I would listen and be like, I can't say it's not good. I would hurt their feelings if they knew I didn't like their music. I literally was upset to admit to myself, not to anybody else. Only in my heart of hearts would I admit this song's terrible, and it just tore me to pieces.
Yeah, I got a couple. I remember, older brothers, Friends' older brothers. When Kiss came out, when Kiss was really rocking alive too, and that's when I jumped on board. I was in the Kiss Army singing the songs. Those guys would just talk back to me some lyrics from some, you like the Kiss songs, do you? And they'd go, pull the trigger of my love. And they'd read some of their ridiculous lyrics. You got to have the rock, right? You got to be spitting blood and fire and have the big stage show to truly, fully appreciate, I guess, what Kiss was doing. But I was crushed. But even some of the Kiss songs, I had to admit, were, a little... a swing and a miss right there. I see somebody here on the KQ Facebook page. Don put in, Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney. They added that. Ebony and, they're trying there. You see what they're doing? It's schmaltzy, sure. There was some of that stuff in there. What about What's Up With You by Eddie Murphy with Michael Jackson, the king of pop here?
That just speaks to the power of it, how big Eddie Murphy was at some point. Yeah. Holy smokes. Ebony and Ivory was Stevie Wonder. The Michael Jackson song.
The
Michael Jackson song made people yearn for Ebony and Ivory. Say.
That's right.
That was terrible.
That's right.
And I hated the video. They're like old snake oil salesmen in the day, like traveling hucksters.
Right.
Oh, it was just like, Paul, what are you doing? Again, as a guy, it broke my heart to say, man, it's not very good. I hope I don't hurt his feelings.
Sometimes we got to look in the mirror every once in a while. Michael, you've mentioned this one, Steve. We built this city.
I can't talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to know about it. Don't mention it to me.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's because you're knee deep in the hoopla.
I don't love it, but I like it, and I can respect it.
No, it's fine to like it, but you can't respect it, please.
I will respect it.
Oh, my God.
I shall.
I know. See, this is what happens, People get a little touchy about their favorite songs, songs they love and hate, and some songs are just songs you've heard too much. But don't tell an old music director, "Oh, I don't like this song that you guys play all the time." You want to know why? Because we've done research, and it turns out you don't change the channel, and that's why we keep playing it. So hang on. We'll get some more rock. We'll kick this around a little bit. We've got some other stuff to get to, which means I didn't really look at what's coming up yet. I know we have a guest coming in this morning at some point, but that's not next. And we're purpose.
No, yeah. It is.
Calling in at 8. Yep.
Oh, it is 8 o'clock. All right. I'm sorry. Help me out here. Who is this? Andrew. Andrew is at Laugh Camp in St. Paul. We're going to all learn how to pronounce his name and laugh along with Drew.
Wegleitner.
Yes, that's it. Andrew. Drew's joining us here at 8 o'clock, a professional comedian. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Keith Richards is 80 years old. You have no excuse. Whatever it is you're too tired to do. Keith is 80. He's made it this long. We can all get our shoulder back to the wheel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That guy's still up there doing it. The Stones are going on tour next year. Mick's been 80 for months now. Now Keith joins him. All I'm saying is stop bitching. Just get to work. I don't mean that at all. Go ahead, bitch all you want. I don't care. I'm just trying to, we're all just trying to get through. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, Friday and Saturday night at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club, Andrew Wegleitner will be appearing, and he is now joining us on the horn. Andrew, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
All is well on this end. I hope that's the same for you. Today, December 18th, Andrew, they say this is the day for peak holiday stress. A week before Christmas is when it really kind of hits everybody the hardest. How are you handling the holiday crush so far?
I also have been consuming a lot of THC recently.
Okay, but it's important to do what you got to do. I mean, generally speaking, are the holidays okay for you, or are you a bit of a grump about this time of year?
I can get a little bit grumpy. I'm out in Denver now, so I grew up in the Twin Cities, so it's a little easier. I'm a little more isolated from my family out here, so I can I don't really have to deal with it until I come home.
Right, and so you are coming home this weekend, 2 nights at Laugh Camp. Would you be coming home for the holidays if you weren't working?
I'd be coming home at some point. My partner's family's in Atlanta, so we alternate years, sometimes Atlanta and sometimes come back to Minnesota.
Do you get along with the partner's family better than your own?
Yeah. Actually, I do. But I probably keep my mouth shut more at her place, so that's probably why.
Probably a good idea. I would say so. Well, I mean, I guess I could. Some of these questions are already answered. You've got a company called the Codependent Company. There's nothing but hilarity when digging into the depths of one's own codependency, huh? I can speak from experience on that one.
Yeah, it's great. We depend on each other, and we depend on the audience to be there and provide a lot of energy. So, yeah, that's why we need a lot of people to show up this weekend.
So this weekend, as I said, Friday and Saturday, 8 p.m. both nights at Laugh Camp Comedy Club. So you're a kid of the Twin Cities. How long have you been away from here full time? When did you move?
I moved about a year and a half ago to Denver.
Oh, so still a recent thing then. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But growing up, I mean, generally speaking, though, Twin Cities, it's a great comedy town. Was this something you got into very early? Were you aware of, hey, I'm funny, and Minneapolis is a great, St. Paul, great comedy towns? What was the genesis of this?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Like, I remember when I was in high school, I went to see an improv show at Comedy Sports, and I was like absolutely blown away. I grew up in Hudson, Wisconsin, so just, right across the border there. But I'm a Vikings fan, though, so no issues there. But yeah,
no, there's plenty of issues there, but I mean, at least
scars.
I mean, like state rivalry wise, there's plenty of issues with the team, but I don't know if we have time to get into that. But yeah, I don't know. And then I went to school in Madison and started doing comedy there, and then all these great comics from the Twin Cities were coming down and performing at the club in Madison and just telling me about how great the scene was up there, how you can get on stage every night if you want to, and how great the clubs were in the Twin Cities. And the cool thing about moving away is that, I've been more of a draw when I come home. And so I've actually been getting booked to headline more since leaving town, actually, than when I lived there.
There's nothing better than coming back as opposed to staying in terms of that kind of thing. There's an old thing in Nashville. It's kind of funny about session musicians. If you live in LA or New York and someone starts to bring you down and hire you, you get booked constantly. And then a lot of musicians go, well, I'm working so much in Nashville, I'll just move there. And the minute you move there, the phone stops ringing. People love to bring you in from out of town, so stay in Denver. That's my advice to you, Andrew. Just stay out there, come back. We'll always be happy to have you.
Yeah. And you guys should all move to Denver.
It's not a bad town. I mean, the microbrew scene's pretty strong. The weather's not as extreme as people think.
They used to have that legalized recreational marijuana over us. No longer, however, still kind of, because Minnesota, is going to take 3 years to figure out how to put it in a store and make us, jump through hoops to get it. So, Andrew, you've down there. You've been living. You mentioned what. Do you have some tips for people in Minnesota? Because many of us have been smoking pot our entire lives, but not like this edible stuff, not this new strains of pot that are coming our way.
Yeah, you got to watch out for those edibles, man. Read the label very carefully and learn what the different letters mean. Like, there's THC, there's CBD, there's CBG, there's CBN, and they all have different properties. And if you get a package, don't just eat the whole thing. Like, your dosage might just be like one piece.
Yeah, Andrew Wegleitner giving us all the information we need. And, of course, because we're the kind of people who love gummies, we're not listening. So it's falling on deaf ears, but I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, I have no advice to comedians, but if you're looking to buy weed, I have a lot of great tips. Now, so does that mean when I come home this weekend, it's not up and running in the dispensaries yet?
No, they're going to try and get it going in 2024. They've got to get, how it is in Minnesota, they got to get the whole cannabis board ready. They got to make sure they can bust us properly first and have the taxes all figured out. But it's legal to grow here and to own, but we can't go into the dispensaries. Are not open yet.
All right, we'll figure something out.
Baby steps, man. I'm sure you'll figure it out by the time you get here. Friday, Saturday night, Laugh Camp Comedy Club, 8 p.m. both nights. Now, as you are a native of this area, we've already got a story today, second one of the year already, of some people getting stuck out on the ice, being rescued, ice fishing gone awry. Have you ever been ice fishing?
A couple times. Yep. Not with a lot of success.
No, did you? But I imagine maybe not successful fishing, but was a good time had. Was there camaraderie?
Yeah, okay, for sure. Yeah, there's nothing better than hanging out with my uncles outside, just standing there watching them drink beer. No, I'm just kidding. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Sure it is. Your uncles who are listening maybe and saying, "Hey, wait a minute, He always acted like he was having fun. I mean, sheesh, it's turning into a Godfather 2 scene out on that lake all of a sudden. You're in the boat. It's going sideways fast. So let's see here. You're not a Packers guy. I do love the fact that you said I'm a Vikings fan, so there's no issues there. We have yet to discuss Saturday's game. Did you watch the game Saturday? Did you see the overtime loss to the Bengals?
You can't really get them out here. I don't have the whole package and everything.
Okay,
so it's hard to watch the Vikings out here, but I'm more of a hockey guy, so I've been watching the Wild.
Okay.
I'm getting back up to 500.
Mm-hmm. Nothing like a new coach to give everyone a little bit of a goose, if you will. It's going well.
Yeah, that really turned everything around.
That did
so far, anyways.
So, let's go back to again, like high school years. I ask everybody this question, so don't feel like I'm putting you in the corner. It's okay if the answer is not cool in hindsight. First concert you ever went to?
I saw Pearl Jam at the Target Center when I was in 8th grade.
Wow.
That was your first gig? That's not bad at all.
I'm really cool. That's really cool you asked me about that. I love telling this story. My uncle was working for Dayton's, the same uncle that I used to go ice fishing with.
Great guy. Hell of a guy.
And so he had the inside corporate connection with Target Center because I think Dayton's own target or vice versa, something like that. And so he got a floor seats. And I was like really small kid back then, and I couldn't see anything, so I kept standing on my seat trying to see the stage, and the security guard kept yelling at me, telling me to get down. And eventually he's just like, asked my uncle, like, look, I can just take him up to the very front right by the stage so he can see. Do you want to ask him if he wants to do that? And he didn't ask me. He just like shoved me in the direction of the security guard and goes, follow this man. Nice. And then I got to go watch Pearl Jam, like literally the front row center, closest spot of anyone in all of Target Center.
Wow.
Great memory.
Yeah, that's a good way to hit the ground running for live concerts. Very well done.
What was yours?
But I was also in 8th grade. I saw the band Heart. This is in 1978. This is before they were pop. This is when they were still just rocking. So
awesome.
It was pretty good. First concert. First time I ever smoked. I'm sorry, I didn't smoke. First time I ever smelled weed. And I did turn down an offer for a joint because I just wasn't ready to make the commitment from the dude in front of us who offered. But yeah, I remember everything about it. It was incredible.
That's so cool.
Andrew Wegleitner is at Laugh Camp Comedy Club Friday and Saturday, 8 p.m. both nights. Listen, man, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Anytime you're coming back around these parts, hit us up.
I'd love to. Thanks, guys.
You got it. Wegleitner right there. Yeah, Heart.
Yeah.
But really, the true answer is yes. Heart was my first concert, but the opening act is who I saw first, and that was, of course, Walter Egan. He of the Magnet and Steel song, which was a huge hit at the time.
I'm trying to think if Heart has any bad songs.
Yeah, it's called, just Google Heart 80s.
Whatever. I love the 80s Heart too. Gosh, you're a
not
jerk
their
face.
hair though, right?
Oh, hey. I'm into it.
But as a rocker who was there in the 70s, it was a disappointment. That's all I'm saying. And by the way, I don't think the Wilson sisters would argue the point.
I don't really like all I want to do is make love.
Yeah, they went a little astray.
And that's 1990, sir. So
different
era.
Throw 90s in there too.
No, now he's sir. He was jerk faced a second ago.
The second big tour I was ever on as an opening artist was for Heart in 1990 when that song was out. And let me tell you who didn't give one flying snot about the Black Crowes. Heart's audience. We walked on those stages and they looked at us like, oh my God, another bunch of dudes who think they're cool. Great.
That's rough.
It was rough. I mean, we got through it okay.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Normally at 9 o'clock on Mondays, Robert Smith joins us to talk about the Vikings. My man is out. He's on the bench this week. He had a minor surgical procedure, had a vocal cord tear. Not your Steven Tyler broken larynx. Just a vocal cord thing. He's going to be back with us next week. So Robert Smith will not be joining us in case you're tuning in at 9 o'clock to hear what the Vicon had to say about the Vikings' overtime loss on the road in Cincinnati. Man, that was brutal, and I imagine the less said about that, the better. Let's change the subject to something more fun. How about Baker Mayfield just rip-roaring the Packers at Lambeau Field yesterday?
Every once in a while.
The first ever perfect quarterback rating for a quarterback on the road. Baker Mayfield had a perfect passer rating of 158.3. That happens very rarely, and he's the first guy to ever do it at Lambeau Field, home or away team. That's incredible.
He's found a good spot there.
Yeah, right. I think so. I mean, that's why he keeps getting chances. I mean, it may have looked, I watched a bit of the game, and it didn't look perfect. At the end, I was like, I mean, he had a great game, no doubt. But it seemed like he made a lot of mistakes. But that's why he keeps getting chances and isn't quite relegated to that backup role, like so many of the quarterbacks the Minnesota Vikings have been rolling out. There's a reason you're a backup in the NFL after about 2 or 3 teams.
It speaks to, however, also, though, you never know what the right situation is going to be. Cleveland, the Browns have got the best defense in the league this year, and now Joe Flacco, who was not great yesterday, but, they're on their fourth quarterback of the season. By all accounts, Baker was beloved. The locker room, those guys loved him in Cleveland. The fans were fans. He's nationally relevant as a pitch guy. He's good in the commercials. You got to wonder if the coaching staff had been a little different, if somebody had known better how to utilize him. But then again, he also was a bit brash. And, quarterbacks, you got to mature. So anyway, I think it's all coming around for him. I think he's going to be with Tampa Bay for a while. They seem to really be buying in right now. Of course, that remains to be seen. We're talking about the holidays today. Today is peak stress day. If you're feeling at any point today extra out holidayed, like, I've enough of this already, you're not alone. A week out of Christmas, December 18th is the day for peak holiday frustrations. And we're talking about it let us down. We played a sample, and we'll probably do it again at 9 o'clock. The worst Christmas song you've ever heard. It's incredible. A real honest to God song that is just astounding. And then that led us down the road of greatest songs or worst songs by great artists. And there's a million comments on the Facebook page about that. But Tony, you said you had a text before we got started.
Yeah, before you get into the worst stuff, text from Kelly in Burnsville. First off says, have a great day, guys. You guys are great. Bye-bye. Which is nice, right? But the meat of the text is just wanted to tell you that Steve rocked it at the Jayhawks Golden Smog concert all night.
Saturday night. That's right. I hadn't even. It feels like another life. It feels like a month ago. Yeah, Saturday night at the Palace in St. Paul. First of all, what an amazing venue.
I love the Palace.
Man, they did a great job with that place. I sat in Golden Smog. We opened for the Jayhawks, which is, Golden Smog is mostly guys, and 3/5 of the Jayhawks are in Golden Smog as well. We came out, we played the songs. As far as I know, nobody got hurt. So, it could have been a lot worse. People seemed to like it. The Jayhawks were fantastic. They worked in a lot of there was some real holiday cheer. They played not Christmas carols, but like there's a great Big Star song called Jesus Christ. The lyric is Jesus Christ was born today. It's very holiday cheery. They also put up Karen from the Jayhawks sang The River, little Joni Mitchell River the other night, which was really weird because Candace had been talking about how that song is in fact her spirit animal. And she it was just gorgeous, beautiful. But the whole set was fun. I hopped back up at the very end of the night to play tambourine on the a Golden Smog song since you came along that actually the Jayhawks waited till the end of the set to play. And I thought I had more time. I was just standing around milling, having a cocktail, chatting, and all of a sudden I hear the song, and I'm like, I think I'm supposed to be on stage right now. But, it's tambourine part, so nobody really missed it. Nobody noticed when I got there. But anyway, I rocked it out at the end of the night. Nice. It was a lot of fun. A really good night in St. Paul. Spoke to a handful of listeners out on the street beforehand after sound check. Different people were all milling around and had a really, really lovely Saturday night and at a great theater with a bunch of great musicians. So, yeah, good time all around.
Very cool.
So glad you guys all made it out.
Sorry, man.
Hey, I was on the stream, man. I was there, rocking, had some family Christmas stuff going, and
you and your family.
Yeah, exactly.
I was on the street, and you blew by me and ignored me.
I channeled in mentally and spiritually.
Right. I appreciate it. As always, I appreciate the least you can do. It was a great night, a really great night. All the Christmas music we heard that night was appropriate and well received, unlike most of the Christmas music we're going to hear between now and Christmas. And that reminds me, Paul McCartney, by any measure, a great artist. I think when it's all said and done, he will have had the greatest career in recorded music history. Mozart, they weren't making recordings back in his day. So, let's not split hairs too crazily here. In the pop rock era, McCartney wears the heavyweight belt of all time. Safe to say. I think so anyway. That's my opinion. However, man, do people just hate his Christmas song.
I love that song.
Wonderful Christmas
I love
time.
it.
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that, Candace. He swings and sometimes he misses. It happens. Happens to the best of us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on the Facebook page, Jill wrote she hates. Okay, now again, worst song ever by a great artist, and she wrote "Your Love" by The Outfield. So I'm just gonna specify great artist. Okay, not one-hit wonder artists. We can't. I'm not a fan of that song either, but I would never say they're a great artist. But that's all I'm saying. Mustafa by Queen. Anybody familiar with that song, Mustafa? Mustafa. Hey. Yeah, it's awful. Doc Paul Watson, I agree with you, sir. That is bad news all around.
Yeah,
what does it mean?
Who knows? Candace, what's your least favorite Fleetwood Mac song?
Oh my gosh, probably "Oh Daddy."
Okay, so you had one.
I don't know. It's fine. I mean, I just won't listen to it and get jazzed up.
What about Stevie? What about Stevie Solo? There's got to be a clunker on Belladonna.
Hell no.
So many people love this, but I can't listen to "Come On, Eileen."
Oh yeah, no, it's rough. Yeah. It's rough. And also, but a huge hit thanks to the video. And there's that one moment in the "Come On, Eileen" video, which every guy remembers very clearly, which is towards the end as the song sweeps back into full roar. Dexy, I suppose, picks up one of his midnight runners, the girl who's wearing the overalls without a T-shirt, and it was MTV's first ever side boob.
Oh,
it was a big moment. It was a big moment. It got a lot of attention back in the day. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that was the 80s. We were paying it. We were looking for that stuff. We were seeking it out in the side.
Wait, the 80s were nothing explains the 80s more than the world thought the girls in the Human League were incredibly hot.
What are you saying?
Whether they were, I don't know. They may be, but I'm just saying. Think about those videos. Don't you want me, baby? And because the song, it was new wave, it was edgy and cool, and I can't even remember what they looked like, but I just know that at one point the two girls in the Human League had eclipsed the two women in ABBA as the hottest women in music. It's a strange time. That's all I'm saying.
A very strange time. Paul messaging in. Smoke on the Water, Pat Boone, mic drop. Yeah, okay, here's the thing, though, Paul. I've heard Smoke on the Water by Pat Boone, and, of course, it was nice because he had the leather vest on and that leather strap on what I suppose he called a bicep back in the time. Of course, it was ridiculous. It was ludicrous, but still better than any Pat Boone song he ever recorded prior to that, I think.
Oh, sure.
I wouldn't know if I'd heard it, but, yeah, that's a disaster.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Satisfaction, a song Keith Richards wrote in his sleep. Literally. I could do that in my sleep. Oh, really? Could you write arguably the most iconic riff in rock history? On tour in the States, 1965. And Keith traveled with a little portable tape machine. It wasn't little back then. It was big. But for the time, it was pretty impressive. But it was a big tape system, and he fell asleep at a hotel, I believe in Tampa, somewhere in Florida, woke up in the morning and noticed that the tape had been on, that it had been played over the night in the record feature. He rewound it and heard the riff for Satisfaction. He woke up sort of in the middle of sleep and hit record and played the riff a few times and hummed it and went right back to sleep. Had he not noticed that the tape had advanced, he would have never even remembered it.
Oh, man.
So that's kind of cool. And I mentioned that because today is Keith Richards' 80th birthday. Happy birthday, Keith.
Yeah, woo-woo.
Man.
But speaking of being drunk and doing some of your best work,
yeah.
Back when I could legally drink at 18, and those years, you just go out and you just drank too much. You didn't know where your limit was at, and that lasted for, 40 years, but until I learned my lesson. But anyway, people be like, oh, man, you were at the party last night, you were telling the jokes, and then you sang this song, and I went, what? I don't know how. I've never heard that. What? Song?
Yeah.
And what jokes was I telling? I thought I should start recording myself, but then somewhere around 22, people were like, yeah, you were the biggest a-hole at the party last night, drinking too much. So, yeah, my talent left me at some point, and I just became a bad drunk. But, yeah, just think of all the stuff. Sting talked about walking on the moon. Is that it? The song I think was walking around my room. He went to something, got really drunk, went back to his hotel, and started walking around the room. I can't sing the chorus, but started.
Sure.
And then woke up the next morning, and he had written that down or recorded some of it, and thought that's stupid. But what if I changed some of the words? We wouldn't have that song. if these guys wouldn't have, you just wonder how many classics weren't made but were performed drunk in a hotel room in the middle of the night.
The answer's in the billions. I can assure you that. Yeah. If not for the Rolling Stones, then I can say quite easily that my former band wouldn't have had quite the same career, because we happily and honorably and without reservation ripped off the Stones as much as we could as we were learning to find our own sound. I mean, everybody does.
Yeah.
I have no problem admitting it. Our first album, the Black Crowes, my former band, our first album, the Shake Your Moneymaker, we got ripped apart. Critics at first were like, "Oh, they're just a Stones knockoff," and I used to say, "Well, at least you're not saying we sound like Bow Wow Wow. I mean, at least it's the Rolling Stones." Nothing against Bow Wow Wow. I like that Candy song as much as the next guy, but it could have been a lot worse. Yeah. We toured with the Stones in '95, back when Keith was really old. And like, oh man, they're so old. They're in their 50s. Oh my God. Again, he's 80 years old today. We were on tour in Europe with the Stones in '95, and the first day we were backstage in the Voodoo Lounge area. Their piano player, Chuck Leavell, who had played on our first album and been a friend of ours at that point for 6 years, we were all hanging out with Chuck, and it's the Voodoo Lounge. It's not a normal backstage. It's whatever you imagine a backstage to be on steroids times 100. There's snooker tables and a sushi chef and all kinds of crap going. It's crazy. And we're in, and it's like set up like a pub. Like we're drinking draft beer in the Stones backstage area. And Keith comes walking through, and it's the first day that we're there. And Chuck Leavell says, "Keith, hey, Keith, you know these guys, you know the Black Crowes." And Keith looks up, does not break stride, keeps going the way he's going, and over his shoulder goes, "Know him. Hell, I wrote him."
Nice.
And we all went, well, yeah, it was hilarious. And then he couldn't have been cooler. We did spend time with him, but that was like a sitcom moment. That was like the character enters on a great line and keeps walking, and it was like, man, that was fantastic. So cool. Also turning 80 today, he's no longer with us, but is Bobby Keys, Keith Richards' longtime best friend, the saxophone player for the Stones, as well as everybody else who needed a rock and roll sax in the 60s and 70s. Bobby was everyone's first call, but he's legendarily Keith's partner in crime for decades and decades and decades. And when Bobby died at the end of 2014, and I had been playing with him for a few years in Nashville. We had a band called Bobby Keys and the Suffering Bastards. And at the funeral, which Keith and Chuck Leavell and a few other members of the Stones world attended the funeral. And afterwards, we were all at Bobby's favorite bar down in Franklin, Tennessee, it was a somber day, but a lot of laughs because Bobby was such a character. And at the end of the day, as they were all leaving, Keith came over and he just said, "Bobby, loved playing with you guys. It was great. You could do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. It was our pleasure." And he goes, "Well, thanks for everything you did for him." And he, kind of gave me a hug. And I said, "Well, yeah, thanks for my career." And he literally goes, "I tried, big man. I tried."
Big man, yes.
And I was like, that's pretty good. That's a good one. Anyway, happy birthday, Keith. Thanks for 8 billion great songs. Even the ones that suck are all pretty good with the Rolling Stones as far as I'm concerned. December 18th, in addition to being the birthday of both Keith Richards and Bobby Keys, it's also the day for most of us. This is peak holiday stress hits today. Now, people start feeling stressed out by the holidays on December 1st. That is the Rubicon from which there's no going back. You're like, oh, crap, it's December. Here it comes. But Christmas being around the corner, as in 1 week away, this is the day for all of us. And so a lot of us get overrun with, there's the shopping, there's the pressure to get the right gift, there's your budget, there's travel, there's a million things that at the end of the year, in what is supposed to be just such a magical time, it can all add up and just swamp us. It can really knock us down. And oftentimes the music we're being inundated with does not help. We've all heard this Christmas music so many times it drives us crazy. And then there's the holiday movies that are playing nonstop, and they're so cheesy and they're so predictable. Now that's by design, that's intentional. The cheesy, predictable nature of these films, it's there to lower stress. It reinforces those feelings of hope and renewal and all that crap that Christmas is supposed to bring, right? There's a reason they make those movies so cheesy. Now now for the steak on the plate. There's a Christmas song that you're probably unfamiliar with. And this should be the official KQRS Christmas song from now on. I'm just going to go. I don't know if we have to put this to a vote, if we got to go up to corporate with this. I'm just going to go ahead and announce it. This is the official Christmas song of the KQ Morning Show for forever. Because I don't know how it slipped through the cracks in 1975 when it was released. This is a song called An Old-Fashioned Christmas, Daddy's Home. You'll get the idea of what's happening here. But again, this is not a joke. This is not William Shatner doing a Christmas song. This is not Pat Boone singing Deep Purple. This is honest to God and from the heart. Okay, so in the middle of a Christmas song, the song interrupts itself with a news bulletin. Because earlier in the song, she says, Daddy gets that bus every day. He comes home. He's bringing presents for the tree. With the music that's only rivaled by the theme song from Halloween in terms of being just generally and naturally scary. Apparently, the number 5 out of New Haven slid on ice and went into a tree. Yeah. No survivors.
Daddy.
And now for sports.
Right after Mom said everything's going to be fine. So not only do you lose your dad, but you realize your mom has been lying to you.
I love that they cut in with that breaking news that everyone died on the bus with, what is it, that goofy honking horn, the comedic horn.
Yeah.
All right. At a breaking bulletin. Well,
oh man!
So
now what's going to happen? Gone, what's the fallout? He did a really good job of keeping that harsh New York accent down until he said there. Yeah. Don't just stand there.
Why do you have to ring it?
Like, no, you gotta soften it up a little bit for the Midwestern folk. Okay, cool. Don't just stand there. He couldn't say there. He had to go there.
Oh, You know what I'm thinking? He had the perfect opportunity to duck out. They would have never known. Dad wasn't on the bus. It burned, charred remains. It was 1975. We didn't have DNA back then. He could have got away scot-free and started a new family.
What was he thinking?
What was he thinking? That was the 70s, man. They were cranking those out in the 1970s. It's Kevin, one of our listeners. I got his last name wrong, and I have not got a correction on that. So I'll just say, Kev, thank you, buddy. We'll give you full credit when he gets there. But yeah. He tracks down songs from the 1970s. That was a thing, and that whole storytelling, and it had to be a tragedy with a happy ending.
It's right there with Daddy, Please Don't, It Wasn't His Fault. He means so much to me. Remember that one? Run, Joey, run.
Yeah.
Run, Joey, run.
Run, Joey, run. I remember. How about this one? Kenny Starr, the blind man in the bleachers. Yeah, hey, look, your kid's in the game. What? Yeah, he's in there anyway.
Just announce his name.
You can get out. You
could set this. The high school could have put their own. They could have gotten their own transistor situation set up. Have a fake broadcast. Everybody, the whole town buys into it. He scored 11 touchdowns. It was incredible.
Oh man,
it'd be amazing. That guy wouldn't know any better.
I didn't even get to the end. I don't even know if the kid got in the game. Did he die before he got in the game?
That's the Friday Night Lights. The pilot episode was based on that. The kid broke his neck, and the career ended. It was terrible.
He was on the number 5 bus.
Yeah, he was. The number 5 bus slid on the ice, went onto the field, and ran the kid over.
Oh man.
That's the mashup that we need. Old-fashioned Christmas and the blind man and the bleachers together at last.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Still no update on the dozens of people stranded, on broken, frozen lake, Upper Red Lake, I guess is what it's called, up way north in northern Minnesota. Dozens, 40 to 50 people on an ice floe that broke away. Rescue workers have been on the scene for hours trying to get them all in. We've not gotten any bad news. No news is good news, I would assume, in this situation. But if anything happens in the next, 15 minutes, we'll let you know. But for me, happy not to have been ice fishing today or any day. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to that point now where they've been out long enough, some hypothermia. The beer's wearing off,
sure.
I'm only guessing, but getting a bit more serious as time goes on. When you first hear about it, it's like, every year, a bunch of folks get caught out there on the ice and they have to bring them in. But I'm sure the nice thing about it is Minnesota's built for this, right? We have the resources and the people, and
my hope is that My hope is that the number one rescue team weren't part of the ice fishers themselves. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
Could have been those very guys. Here's another local story, and we mentioned this last week. This one actually is a terrible story. There is a salmonella outbreak linked to contaminated cantaloupe has claimed another life of a Minnesotan.
Right. This
is an absolute nightmare. Now, Minnesota has 26 reported cases and now 3 deaths in this outbreak. The CDC is saying do not eat pre-cut cantaloupes. If you don't know the brand, throw away any recalled pre-cut, obviously, cantaloupes. There's a full list of recalled fruits. There are just a bunch of them. If the sticker says Rudy or Malachita with the number 4050, get rid of it. And those are sold in a lot of different places around the state of Minnesota. There's been a recall as well. Quaker Oats has pulled some granola bars and cereals over a nationwide salmonella risk. So, if you got pre-cut cantaloupe, just do yourself a favor. Just don't even look at the paper. Just throw it away. Don't even give yourself that chance.
Yeah. Like me some cantaloupe, too. Guess what I'm not eating this time of the year? I mean, why take the chance? There's lots of other melons out there to choose from.
This is why I don't eat fruit.
This is why.
You never know. Or granola.
Yeah, apparently not.
By the way, Steve, I just had to check because I'm like, Red Lake, bunch of people rescued out on the ice. I mean, it's ringing such a bell. That's because of this same time last year, 200 anglers became stranded when a large sheet of ice broke off in Upper Red Lake. On a Sunday, rescued on a Monday. The exact deja vu, except we're down to about, 50 folks? But 200 last year this time.
I'd be willing to bet that those folks were like, wait, it happened last year. What are the chances it's going to happen again this year?
Yeah, right.
This is the world according to Garbstein when the plane hits his house and he says, I'll take it. Like he's thinking about buying a house and a plane hits it. And he's like, I mean, that'll never happen again. Of course, it's safe now.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it will happen again.
Yeah. And by the way, it was 2 weeks prior to this. So a little earlier last year. I suppose they felt like it was a colder year last year, too. I don't know, up there on the High Line, what the weather was doing this time last year. But it's been warm all over the place.
Whatever they're testing the depth and strength of the ice with, I would need more. I would need more than whatever they're doing.
More.
Yeah, it's the idea of getting out on that ice floe. As it started to separate, my stomach would just that would be a nausea, probably the likes of which I've never experienced. And if you want to feel a little weird to yourself, what are your feelings about the Mariah Carey Christmas song? All I Want for Christmas Is You. You like that one, Candace?
Of course, I love Mariah Carey. Man, that was my childhood.
Okay, Zep, Tony, any strong feelings either way?
It's pretty addictive.
I'm not going to seek it out, but I don't punch out either. I suppose if it's on in the store, get me out of here. This damn song. It's a part of the holidays. It's when you allow for these, kinds of things, songs that I wouldn't normally listen to. The Eagles, Baby Please Come Home for Christmas.
Sure.
I'll listen to it this time of the year. Why not?
Yeah, I hear you. The song All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey, by all accounts, by the way, she did write that song. She did produce it. She wrote it in about 15 minutes. It was just I got an idea for a Christmas tune, and one thing led to another. And she had, for the most part, the song was put together just in the blink.
Christmas song.
Hey, Candace, hang on. I got a note. I'm making sure I didn't leave anything undone for the show today. Candace, what's your favorite Christmas song?
Mistress for Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Going strong with AC/DC on that one.
Yes, bomb.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty good. That's true. It really is pretty good. I tell you what, I think we might as well just look back. How about a history lesson?
I love history. I'm going to tell you something that I learned.
Do it. Go ahead.
Tell me, Steve.
Candace Wheeler's favorite sport, soccer. Let's talk about it.
Okay, hold on. One day, Tony made me go in his studio and record a bunch of things and a bunch of words. I didn't say anything. He did that. So maybe Tony hates soccer.
That's such a myth.
So wait a minute.
You're in a drunken haze.
Yeah. Hold on.
Soccer!
My world's been thrown into a spin. Do you or do you not then love diarrhea?
AI!
Oh.
AI.
Is that I or
That's
AI?
the sound you make? AI! It's free. No, soccer is my favorite sport. I've been a soccer jerk since I was 6 years old. First sport I ever played. It's always my favorite. And a year ago today, Argentina beat France in a World Cup final. The greatest World Cup final ever played is the general consensus 1 year later. Lionel Messi, now who plays for Miami in the MLS, finally cemented his legacy as probably the greatest player ever with that World Cup win for Argentina. Kylian Mbappe had a hat trick for France. It's pretty amazing. Anybody who ever had a hat trick in a World Cup final usually wins the game, but that was just how amazing that game was.
Soccer!
A year ago. There it is. That's what I like to hear. You should have one where you say... Laugh. You should have one where you go, association football.
Okay.
Which is where the name came from, of course. On this day in 2015, what everybody long assumed or had assumed for 2 weeks was confirmed, and that was that Scott Weiland of the Stone Temple Pilots died from a toxic mixtape. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I remember the morning it happened. Just to really echo what you said, I need to jump in. But yeah, it was shocking news, but none of us, I guess, super shocked that it happened.
Yeah, it's a real, I've been on a million tour buses, and so there's no better place. At the same time, no more lonely place, depending on what you're going through in your life. Yeah. The tour bus can be the absolute height and the absolute depths of despair. And of course, that's where he ended, sadly. On this day in 2005, this is why British people are cooler than Americans on occasion. VH1 in Britain ran a poll. Favorite Christmas song ever. Number 2 was Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. But number 1 was Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues with Kirsty MacColl. Yeah, come on, that's a solid choice right there. That ain't Mariah. Listen to... are you kidding? Listen to Shane MacGowan right there. How drunk was he in the studio that day? The answer, very.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, wait a second. Oh, that's Shane MacGowan, the poet. I thought Bon Jovi did this song. No? Wait a second.
Oh, he does it.
So could anyone?
Oh, no, stop. I was in a good mood until you started that. By the way, that song went to number 1 in Ireland a couple weeks ago when Shane MacGowan died. It went right back to the top of all the streaming charts in Ireland. So that was today in 2005. That's 5 years to the day after the singer Kirsty MacColl, who does the duet with Shane MacGowan. On this day in 2000, she was tragically killed in a boating accident off the coast of Mexico. She was snorkeling with her sons, 2 teenage boys, in an area where no boats were supposed to be. And a multi-millionaire grocery chain magnate didn't care about the rules and rode right into the peninsula and ran her over and killed her. And he got his boat hand to take the fall for him and say, I was the one driving the boat, although witnesses all argued it. Just goes to show, I guess it helps to be a multimillionaire grocery store magnate when you go kill a great singer. Yeah. On this day in 1988, Mike Peters of the Welsh band The Alarm. If anybody remembers those 80s, The Alarm were happening.
Yeah.
He was rushed to the hospital, left the stage in the middle of a gig because the spotlights that hit him, there was supposedly some sort of filter situation that the light guy didn't put on, and it literally blinded the man.
Weird.
He lost his vision for 2 weeks and then thankfully had it back. Can you imagine going blind for 2 weeks because your light guy made a mistake? Whew. Not good. But The Alarm, for a hot minute there, pretty great. I saw him open for the Pretenders in 1985. Acoustic guitars and teased hair. You couldn't get much better than that. On this day in 1966 in London, a guy named Tara Brown was driving his Lotus Elan at high speed, and he ran into a parked truck, and he was killed instantly. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Still no update on the dozens of people stranded, on broken, frozen lake, Upper Red Lake, I guess is what it's called, up way north in northern Minnesota. Dozens, 40 to 50 people on an ice floe that broke away. Rescue workers have been on the scene for hours trying to get them all in. We've not gotten any bad news. No news is good news, I would assume, in this situation, but If anything happens in the next, 15 minutes, we'll let you know. But for me, happy not to have been ice fishing today or any day. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting to that point now where they've been out long enough. Some hypothermia. The beer's wearing off.
Sure.
I'm only guessing, but getting a bit more serious as time goes on. When you first hear about it, it's like, every year, a bunch of folks get caught out there on the ice and they have to bring them in. But I'm sure the nice thing about it is Minnesota's built for this, right? We have the resources and the people, and
my hope is that my hope is that the number one rescue team weren't part of the ice fishers themselves. You never know.
Yeah.
Could have been those very guys. Here's another local story, and we mentioned this last week. This one actually is a terrible story. There is a salmonella outbreak linked to contaminated cantaloupe has claimed another life of a Minnesotan.
Right.
This is an absolute nightmare. Now, Minnesota has 26 reported cases and now 3 deaths in this outbreak. The CDC is saying do not eat pre-cut cantaloupes. If you don't know the brand, throw away any recalled pre-cut, obviously, cantaloupes. There's a full list of recalled fruits. There are just a bunch of them. If the sticker says Rudy or Malachita with the number 4050, get rid of it. And those are sold in a lot of different places around the state of Minnesota. There's been a recall as well. Quaker Oats has pulled some granola bars and cereals over a nationwide salmonella risk. So, if you got pre-cut cantaloupe, just do yourself a favor. Just don't even look at the paper. Just throw it away. Don't even give yourself that chance.
Yeah. Like me some cantaloupe, too. Guess what I'm not eating this time of the year? I mean, why take the chance? There's lots of other melons out there to choose from.
This is why I don't eat fruit.
This is why.
You never know. Or granola.
Yeah, apparently not.
By the way, Steve, I just had to check because I'm like, Red Lake, bunch of people rescued out on the ice. I mean, it's ringing such a bell. That's because of this same time last year, 200 anglers became stranded when a large sheet of ice broke off in Upper Red Lake. On a Sunday, rescued on a Monday. The exact deja vu, except we're down to about, 50 folks? But 200 last year this time.
I'd be willing to bet that those folks were like, wait, it happened last year. What are the chances it's going to happen again this year?
Yeah, right.
This is the world according to Garbstein when the plane hits his house and he says, I'll take it. Like he's thinking about buying a house and a plane hits it. And he's like, I mean, that'll never happen again. Of course, it's safe now.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it will happen again.
Yeah. And by the way, it was 2 weeks prior to this. So a little earlier last year. I suppose they felt like it was a colder year last year, too. I don't know, up there on the high line, what the weather was doing this time last year. But it's been warm all over the place.
Whatever they're testing the depth and strength of the ice with, I would need more. I would need more than whatever they're doing.
More.
Yeah, it's the idea of getting out on that ice floe. As it started to separate, my stomach would just that would be a nausea, probably the likes of which I've never experienced.
I love history. I'm going to tell you something that I learned.
Do it. Go ahead.
Tell me, Steve.
Candace Wheeler's favorite sport, soccer. Let's talk about it.
Okay, hold on. One day, Tony made me go in his studio and record a bunch of things and a bunch of words. I didn't say anything. He did that. So maybe Tony hates soccer.
That's such a myth.
So wait a minute.
You're in a drunken haze.
Yeah. Hold on.
Soccer!
My world's been thrown into a spin. Do you or do you not then love diarrhea?
AI!
Oh.
AI.
Is that I? Or
That's
AI?
the sound you make? AI! It's free. No, soccer is my favorite sport. I've been a soccer jerk since I was 6 years old. First sport I ever played. It's always my favorite. And a year ago today, Argentina beat France in a World Cup final. The greatest World Cup final ever played is the general consensus 1 year later. Lionel Messi, now who plays for Miami in the MLS, finally cemented his legacy as probably the greatest player ever with that World Cup win for Argentina. Kylian Mbappe had a hat trick for France. It's pretty amazing. Anybody who ever had a hat trick in a World Cup final usually wins the game, but that was just how amazing that game was.
Soccer!
A year ago. There it is. That's what I like to hear. You should have one where you say... You should have one where you go, association football.
Okay.
Which is where the name came from, of course.
The KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.